Folks, we are in perilous times, more today than yesterday. So far, we've taken over an Iranian flagged ship. We have had military movement, Air Force flying like crazy over that way, and there's several countries involved, and people are getting desperate, stealing from stores. Food is fake. I mean, all of it. You might as well say all of it. My mom was raving over the Arby's beef sandwiches, and I said, well, if it isn't brown, it's not roast beef. And people were noticing that it was either gray or kind of pinkish. And then I found out that they're adding ground pork to ground beef, but not telling people about it. Only they tell them that's what they're going to do, but they don't label it that way. That's pretty unfair to the people who don't even eat pork. And I'm not going to say one way or the other whether you do or don't, whether it's right or wrong. I'm not going to say that. I will tell you that this is what God told the Israelites after they were exited from Egypt. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into dogma or anything like that today. What I'm telling you is not only are the merchants saying that within 2 or 3 months there won't be any food, they're saying the stores, the shelves will be less full than they are. But I'm telling you, when people start seeing that, they're going to go take everything. They're going to take everything. Before that happens, you better think about, instead of putting your money into it, unless you absolutely have to have a new phone, and don't spend money. I go to Dollar General, buy a $50, $60 phone, whatever it is. That's it. I don't buy these $1,000 phones like some people I know have. It's ridiculous. But the thing is don't buy a new TV. Don't go buy, a new car. That's one of the most, unless you're really wealthy, that is the most foolish thing you can do. Actually, if you're pretty wealthy, that's the foolish thing to do anyway, because if people see you have a nice car, they know you got a lot of money and you don't care about them. And for all the people that raise taxes all the time, like townships and counties that raise your property taxes, if you think that people are not going to come looking for you one day because they've had enough, you've got another thing coming. You already got, what was it, Illinois or Indiana or someplace? There was a politician that voted for a data center that got his house shot up. Now, I would never do something like that, and I would never tell anybody to do something like that. All I'm telling you is, if you think people aren't going to do that and they're not going to come looking for you, sure enough, they know where you live or they're going to find you. Guess what? All you need is an app and put somebody's name to it. And if you got a name on a electric bill or a telephone bill or anything like that, that app used to be, it could get you within 2, 3 doors. Now it can get you right to your door. So if you think people can't figure this out, you got another thing coming. And for all you people that keep going in the parking lot, sitting in your vehicles, getting on your phone, not paying attention to what's around you, that's another dumb thing. I'm always looking around. I look around before I get out of the vehicle. I look around while I'm walking into the store and out of the store. I look around while I'm in the store. And then you got, especially older people are bad for this, and young people, pretty young people and older people, because it's never happened to them, so they think it won't. The younger people just think they're big and bad and they can just take care of somebody. But I'll tell you what, you can't outrun a bullet, right? I remember a woman, I had an ex-wife, that had a counseling session because she was violent. So she wanted me to go with her. And this counselor said, well, I walk, she was walking down her dirt road with 2 dogs. And I said, you shouldn't be doing that. She says, oh, I'm okay. I got the dogs. I said, you know what? You can't outrun a bullet. Neither can your dogs. And I said, and then I 2 or 3 weeks later, they got a guy up in the same area who had murdered somebody. And they asked him, what were you doing up in this area? Because he wasn't from that area. He says, looking for somebody to kill. Just like that. And I told my ex-wife, I said, you better tell that counselor of yours that, what I just found out. Now, this was back in 2012, I believe. But here's the thing. Or no, it was earlier than that, I think. Maybe in 2010. But here's the thing. People are oblivious to what's happening because the news is lying to you. You have to get on the internet and go to underground news. Get on some website of somebody you trust. These ABC networks, I mean, I'm talking ABC, NBC, CBS, all of them. MSNBC, CNN, all of them. Fox, same thing. They're downplaying everything, and they're making it seem like it's going to be okay. Why? Well, their excuse is so people don't panic. Let me ask you a question. Why were all other countries telling the people to stock up on food, water, and build an underground bunker? And in some cases, the countries themselves were building the bunkers for their people. But this government don't tell you that. Get 2 weeks of food, get 3 months worth of food. That's it. They don't even say anything about water much. And on top of that, they don't even have an inclination of telling you to build a bunker or a safe place. See, and people think I'm crazy. Look, folks, I've known what's going on for a lot of years. I started seeing things back in 2005 and telling people about it. And yeah, I took the brunt of abuse. I was called crazy. Oh, you need help. You better get some counseling. Oh, that's never going to happen here. Really? I'm telling you again, and I've told you over and over again, there will be other countries' military on this soil, and you're going to have to face them. So while you're trying to tell people they don't need guns, and they don't need food, and they don't need water, and they don't need to learn to live primitive, and they don't need to learn how to plant food, when you don't have any food, and people other than you don't have any food, and they come knocking at your door, and they break into your house, and they do some things to you so that you can't stop them from grabbing what you got, you will say, oh my Lord, I should have listened. If you don't have seeds, you better figure out how to get them. And if you don't have books on wild foods, you better find them. You better locate them as best you can. Because you eat the wrong thing, you'll die. You know, there are certain things that if you eat, that within a half hour you'll die. And there's no cure for it. You can't take a medicine and stop it. One of them is I forget what it is. I forget what it is now. It mimics another plant that's edible. Oh, it mimics Queen Anne's lace, which is a white carrot, basically. You take a yellow carrot and you let it go to seed, it looks exactly like a Queen Anne's lace. But it's called not poison sumac, it's called poison hemlock, I believe. It's deadly. You shouldn't even touch it. That's how deadly it is. If you don't know things that you can eat that grow wild, you better figure it out. And you better also plant and do the best you can. You better figure out how to get water if you don't have any water, because if you don't have electricity, you're not going to have a well. You're not going to get water out of your well if you got an electric pump and you can't put a hand pump on it because it's too deep. You're in trouble. And if you get no rain, you better figure out how to get it out of the air. You got rocks? Put them in where the sun shines. Of course, I know they're blocking the sun a lot. Put it where the sun shines. Put some, the Marines used to tell me they were taught to put leather on it. And then at night, the water would drizzle down into a container. Because the rocks get hot and then there's condensation, even in the desert. See, there's a lot of things I learned through the years. And I know some people say, well, you're only 67, but I'm 67. And I knew things were coming, and I knew I had to learn some things. And the Lord put me through some hard times. I'm going to tell you that right now. I lost everything 5 times before I finally got the message that I don't need all that stuff. You know, I'm not saying you have to live like a minimalist, really, but you better have 2 ways to go. Most people prep to stay in their house, but if you get flooded out, look at all the flooding. You know, what if there's a forest fire? I mean, I can probably stop my place from catching on fire. Of course, it's in the ground. It's got concrete all over it. But still, across the road, there's a bunch of trees with a bunch of dead wood on the floor of the forest. And I'm struggling. When I say I'm not prepared, I don't have filters and holes so I can get clean air through them. I've got the material. I just haven't been able to get to it because now I got more repairs because of people who just wanted to do what they wanted to do here and not help me at all and help themselves, and I had to get them out of here. Or they left because they saw bad times coming for them. Except one guy got arrested because he did something stupid. But then people use the card and they get tracked. If you're running from the law, you don't want to be doing that, right? I mean, I don't have any problem. I've had police here. Well, for the guy, and then some woman that was here, she was a real problem. And then somebody was well checking it, was worried about me, so they sent somebody to do a well check on me or something. But I don't have any of that problem with the police. But the thing is this one world government, it'd be the same thing. If you want to hang on to anything electronic, you're in trouble. Because that's the most foolish thing you can do during a time when, if you're not taking the mark of the beast, you don't have the mark of the beast, you don't do things to follow the beast, they're going to get you. And, if they get me, I said, well, I'm going to hang my head and all that weight be lifted off my shoulders. I know my fight's almost over. And that's a fact, Jack and Jackie. But the fact also is I'm not going to be foolish and put myself out there too. I've slowed down on a lot of things. Like, I know people know where I'm at, but most of them don't know my street. But, and I don't get a phone bill or electric bill. I'm off the grid. I have a solar system, small solar system. I don't have refrigeration. I've learned how to dry foods and store foods in other fashions like canning. And I've learned this too. You can reuse canning lids. I've done it more than once because I didn't have canning lids and I needed to can some meat and stuff like that. But I also salt cure meat. I learned how to do that. It's still good today. And this was months ago I did that. And it's just in a stainless steel pot with salt in it. Of course, I dried it up first before I put it in there, but that's not the point. And then if you think you're going to go hunting and fishing, yeah, good luck with that. So are 10,000 other people around you going to do that. So if you even find a fish or a deer or anything, you're going to be pretty fortunate. And guess what? When the food starts getting depleted out there, the animals will start going and getting anything they can too. And if they get hungry enough, guess who's the target? And if people get hungry enough, guess who's the target? And if you think that won't happen or people can't do that or won't do that, you got another thing coming. Folks, it's time to open up your eyes and open up your ears and pay attention. We are at the precipice of dangerous times, and it's not even just coming. It's already here. I'm out.